Stop looking at the news piece by piece. You need to connect the dots, and that's what we're going to do here right now. Are we moving into a dystopia or is this utopia? Universal basic income, Worldcoin, all of the new policies that are being put into place supposedly to take care of you. What does this all mean for you, the individual, in the near future? We're going to break that down here and now. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Does Sam Altman know what he's creating? The OpenAI CEO's ambitious, ingenious, terrifying quest to create a new form of intelligence. We'll talk more about this in a second. You've probably heard it, if not on this channel, on others. We have this new thing. It's called Worldcoin, and it's going to be universal basic income for everybody. Every single person will be identified by their eye, and they'll be able to spread the wealth through the entire world. You'd be able to transact. You'd have ultimate privacy. You don't have to worry, except the fact that they have already begun to sell other people's identities for $30. Yes, that's right. You could go onto the different, I guess the dark web and find these things right now. $30. Is that what your identity is worth? Well, that's the price it's going for. You could see that these people lining up for hours to get their eyeball scanned are put into this system, and only time will tell what's going to come of it. I could tell you right up front that privacy is not exactly what we've been told. It's not just Worldcoin, but in every step of the way. So that's one aspect of it. But economically, well, we've got some other things to watch out for. What is Worldcoin? Here's what to know about the eyeball scanning crypto project launched by OpenAI's Sam Altman. If you are interested, I would check it out. But you could see that you have this orb, and now what is trending is smash the orbs. So people are actually going out there and attacking these things. I guess they're not too fond of them. A cryptocurrency, it could be used to verify their identity, an app that allows users to make payments, purchase and transfers with it, as well as other digital assets are also part of the project. 2 million people signed up during the beta, operations in 35 cities across 20 countries. Okay, so just to give you a look at it, it's not a small thing. People thought, whatever. We have literally people lining up. 35 cities, 2 million people, they're putting their eye into this already. When the time comes, it's not now, but when the time comes and we see that simply trying to keep up with our payments, as it already is difficult, but imagine you can't keep up with your payments. Well, all you got to do, scan your eye, here's some free money. A lot of people are going to do it. And some people, just like through 2020, that didn't want to go through what they had to, they did it because they wanted to remain employed. You know about this. This happened many times. I know of people as well. They simply went along with it because they had to keep their job. They said, well, I don't have a choice, so this is what I'm going to do. It's just like this. You want the UBI, you want the free money, scan your eyeball and get over it. Get over it. That's what they're going to tell you. Okay, and there's more to this, by the way. It's not just about that. I'll tell you why. Would an occasional blackout help solve climate change? Wait a second. What are they talking about here? I don't understand. Are they actually actively suggesting that they shut the power off like this is some sort of developing country in order to solve climate change? That's what they're recommending, not necessarily a policy. But what happens in these countries here when they're sanctioned, when they've got some serious problems? They do rolling blackouts. It's typical in some countries. Oh yeah, on this day at this time, we don't have power. But to actually suggest that they would do this in order to stop climate change, and maybe they will do that, regardless what side you're on, you got to understand there's going to be a small group of people at the top who are on their private jet while your power is out, while they're on their yacht while your power is out. They are not affected by this. So there's always going to be a group that stands to not be affected or to gain by all of the policies that are put through. Are you going to be able to deal with rolling blackouts? You as an individual, you as a family? What do you think? Most people, they're not going to be able to handle it, and they just simply sit there and they wait for the power to come back. And that's basically this point that we're being put into, where we become very subservient, where we say, I need that UBI, I need the power, so I better shut my mouth. You see? This is just one more thing. The government wants to control your identity. And, I'm just trying to highlight the fact that what they're doing here and now is all about accumulating data on us. All right? More of this. Worldcoin isn't as bad as it sounds. It's worse, and so on and so forth. Okay? You get the point. Now, that's the one. That's the digital aspect. That's control. There's more to it. And I want you to know about this. Will you stick with me? Will you watch this part here? Let me show you. This is Jerome Powell. The staff now has a noticeable slowdown in growth starting later this year in the forecast, but given the resilience of the economy recently, they are no longer forecasting a recession. So, of course, recession has now been called off. That's not occurring. Don't worry about it. Everything's so okay. What we can see with inflation, which, by the way, found it very odd. I was just talking about this as part of the mentor group. On the mentor group, I made mention of something. Do you notice how the Federal Reserve, their favorite indication of inflation is the core PCE rate? However, at Powell's recent conference that you may not have watched, but I had to, because that's my job. That's why you tune in. I watch the boring stuff and then I give that to you. He consistently referred to CPI. I don't know if he even mentioned the core PCE at all. Interesting. I mean, not that he's never talked about it. When they talk about inflation, though, in the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, he usually is referencing core PCE. That's the rate that they look at to make their determination. But every time now, CPI. It's so odd. It's so odd for so many different reasons. And I just find it unusual, particularly at this moment, this critical moment where they're saying that we're watching inflation so that we can determine when the last hike is, and they're using CPI instead of the core PCE. Something smells fishy. Here we have it. The Fed's favorite indicator, inflation measure, cooled down even further in June. Yes, absolutely. California lost more than $300 million in tax revenue from the wealthy residents moving. You see what happens when you tax people, when you push people with the wrong policies, they will leave. I mean, it's crazy, but for the third straight year, the state of California has experienced a decline in population. You don't have that occur too often. I mean, California is so diverse in many different ways. The agriculture, the tech industry, they've got Hollywood, they've got so many different things. But at the same time, and by the way, real estate, massive real estate, population, everything. But some people are saying, I just can't handle it anymore. I can't handle the prices. I don't like where the direction it's heading. I'm moving my whole family, or I'm taking myself, I'm moving it away. And you can see that is very clear. That's what's happening right now. It's not a coincidence. So I would keep an eye on this. I would pay close attention. You could see the changes happening. Inflation has taken hold. People don't like it, and they're moving to what they believe are more free areas. Maybe they're moving to Arizona. Maybe they're moving to Florida, and so on. You've got problems underlying all this, despite what the Federal Reserve is saying, despite the so-called inflation dropping. You've got real problems. Here is another bank failure. Kansas Heartland Tri-State Bank closed by the FDIC. This is just one after the other. They don't care. They don't care anymore. Banks keep failing, and it's just bonus. The markets are like, oh, another bank failed? Fantastic. That means the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates even sooner, and the markets go up. It's wild. Okay. How many bank failures have we had now? Like major bank failures have happened. SVB was one of the biggest banks. I mean, we never even heard of it prior to it coming up in the news. And suddenly, just like that, because of the actions of the Federal Reserve. So we know that what they're talking about with inflation and things, that does have some impact, but it's not the real inflation, number one. And at the same time, that indicator doesn't affect you. If CPI is 3%, I mean, what does that even mean? What are the costs? If I go to the store and I buy my bananas, what are my bananas going to cost? That's what I care about. That's just the way it goes. Everything's going up. And they're, sitting here trying to tell you lies. Well, that's why you're here, for the truth, not for the lies. Corporate defaults this year are running at the fastest pace in more than a decade for companies with public debt that trade on financial markets, outstripping the immediate after effect of the start in 2020. Another $858 billion of bonds and loan carries an S&P rating of B- or lower, the level that designates the debt as being in a precarious position. A rating agency is also tracking more than 200 companies that it says are acutely suffering from severe stress, many of them from the effects of higher inflation. Okay? Big time. I told you this over and over and over again, that we would see this because of the higher interest rates. And here we are. I'm not a genius. This isn't a crystal ball. There is no guru here. I have looked at the history. I have studied this over and over, and we see the same things appear. This is just the way it goes. If you ask me about sports, I can't help you. I don't know about it, okay? But this is something that I've been looking at, and for some reason, I found this interesting, okay? But we're looking at it, seeing the bank failures, seeing what's happening with the credit markets, and it is a cause for concern. So we do not want to be overexposed. If you're an investor, if you're a person that's looking at your own personal investments, you want to have it spread wide. You want to have your bases covered. You want to have products, companies that sell products and services to either the luxury highest of high-end markets, or you want something that is sort of a staple. And that's really important, okay? Because frivolous things may not be where the money is at over the next little while. People don't necessarily want to buy t-shirts for their cat. They say, you know what, I think we're good for now. I haven't, a whole collection of t-shirts for my cat. We'll do with that for a moment, but I still need to buy my food, my energy, my basics, and so on. So it's people make those different decisions. Student loans, that they have to start paying back. So that's going to impact as well. You got an average of $400 a month. Now they got to pay $400 a month that they did it for the past 3 years. That's going to hit hard as well. So there's a lot happening right now. You got the whole robots that are coming through inside Walmart's warehouse of the future. Robots do the lifting and the hauling for workers. No more aching backs, but one packed on the pounds. Just want to be clear. I'm just showing you that the biggest of big companies, it's Amazon, it's Walmart, it's Chipotle, they're all employing robots or trying to do so at scale. If you do not understand this, you got to be aware. That's why you've got to have your assets in the right places. You got to have maybe a side hustle. You got to increase your income, whatever you got to do. If you want to know more about that, totally for free, check out my Discord, because I've got all the tips in there. I've lined it all up, and I'm adding more into it all the time. What is Discord? Think about it like kind of like a chat. It's like a chat system. You could, converse with people. We do that every day. I'm on there every day. But at the same time, I've got like a whole bunch of information in there that you could read through. Very simple stuff, very easy to read through. Definitely check it out. The link is in the description. If you have a problem with that link, just let me know in the comments. I'll definitely reply. You got to check out the Discord. Click it, and I'll see you there.